That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and we are in the Steel City, which, by the way, why do they not give us that option to Pittsburgh our steaks anymore? I feel like I don't get that enough, and that is a very underrated way to get your steaks. We are here tonight. Get excited for the Steel City and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! It worked for The Rock and it's going to work for me.
And you just got flandered.
That's what it is! This court is adjourned.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Welcome to Sophistication Station.
I'm here to save your fantasy roster.
And it's time for TSS Fantasy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you see there's some lightning behind me already. Let's get excited tonight. We are in the Steel City for some Pittsburgh Steelers football tonight. We got a lot to get started with. Let's start with the introductions. Welcome into the studio, Justin Jesus Herrera.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So, this Wi-Fi is going to fudge me up a little bit here, but I have something for Pittsburgh here. So, here it is, Commish. I didn't go on site this. Whoa.
My bad. Hey, listen, that's how we get it started here tonight.
That's
All right,
sound effects right there. Oh, you're good. You're good. But anyways, it already knew I was going to come down on Pittsburgh with the rage of 1,000 gods. When I say this, I looked up Chappie GBT today, and I told him, hey, give me something. I need all of the Kenny Pickett supporters in one stadium photo. And this is what I got. This is all of the Kenny Pickett supporters in Pittsburgh, everybody. You know, Coop, they did a survey who they would rather have than Kenny Pickett. On that survey, Cordero Stewart, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges. We had Byron Leftwich. We had the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger's arm. Hell, even post-surgery, Ben Roethlisberger made it on that list. I'd rather see Terry Bradshaw throwing the football than Kenny Pickett out there. He is officially deemed Kenny can't flick it, pick it.
Wow. The haterade from the NFC, or was that the NFC North last week? It's all of a sudden it's back again, or excuse me, the NFC South last week is back this week for the NFC North. He's trying to get our guests fired up. That's all it is, guys. So don't worry. He's not a true Pittsburgh hater. Where's Nick at, by the way? This is supposed to be your team. I know you're down there in DR having a great time. But listen, we're going to pick on your team a little bit tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get it started tonight. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button. Get a like. Get a comment. It's little things stopping you from doing it, but big things popping for us when you do. Please go ahead and hit all those great things. Don't forget, also get to our sponsors. Use the promo code TSS for Underdog Fantasy. We'll double that deposit up to $100. Also, Jazz Sportsbooks as well. Like I said, lots of different options every week, so use the promo code TSS there as well. And if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, go to Pro-Am Belts today. They got lots of great championship bling for you. All right, well, let's get things started. I'm going to bid Justin adieu, and let's hear from the doc. We'll see you in a bit. The doc is in. We're in the Steel City of Pittsburgh. What's up, Doc, and what's going on in the house call?
Hey there, let's start with Najee Harris. So in his 2-year career, he has never missed a regular season game. But he did get banged up a little bit last season, right? Most importantly, or most concerningly, I guess, was that Liz Frank sprain he had in camp last season. Cost him 4 weeks leading up to the season, and he potentially re-injured it in week number 1, if you recall, when he limped off the field. There were some other smaller issues, but that foot sprain is the most concerning, especially for a running back. Now, the offseason gave him more than adequate time to heal, so I'm expecting him to improve to that rookie year production, maybe beyond. But last year, he did show us his durability. We're going 15% of the bench for Harris. Moving to Allen Robinson. So we look at player trends to predict future performance, but it's really tough to find trends with Robinson. In 9 seasons, his range is 1 game to 16 games, with a mean of 11 and a median of 13 games per season. He's played in all regular season games 4 times over that period. I don't know. Flip a coin. That's better than any educated guess. Allen Robinson, 50% of the bench. And lastly, Deontay Johnson. So here's another consistent guy, only missing 2 regular season games in total over his 4-year career. But after trending in a very, very positive direction his first 3 seasons, last year, bit of a letdown. According to Sleeper, here we go, he, quote, set a new standard for high volume, low efficiency receiving. That's maybe the worst thing you can say about an NFL receiver. So his production's in question, but his consistency is not. We're going to go 15% of the bench.
Oh, what a ringing endorsement there for me, Mr. Deontay Johnson. Gotta love it. All right, Doc, we appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow for Baltimore. All right, well, we are back. Thank you, Doc. We are back to welcome in our Pittsburgh Steelers guests. We got a lot to break down. Let's bring them in.
Our next stop on our summer tour, we visit the Steel City. Wave your terrible towels for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I probably could have used a better cartoon there for Pickens. I don't know what's up with that. All right, well, welcome in. Listen, it's 4th of July Eve, so let's get it popping tonight. You probably can hear all the popping outside my neighborhood. Well, first, we'll welcome into the studio. We've got a couple old friends. Let's welcome them in first. Chris from That Effin' Show. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Easy with that word old, my friend. Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. That Effin' Sports Show. We are actually, it's cool to be here for this show because on That Effin' Sports Show, we have Adam Holes from Adam Holes Sports on. We're breaking down every single team, kind of like you're doing, only we're doing it by record. And we'll get more into the record that we gave the Steelers, but it's good. And I know people don't like it. I know people are mad about all of us that are up on the Steelers, but even when you look at it from a record perspective, it's really hard to get the Steelers out of double-digit wins. We'll talk more about that later. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Chris is already breaking things, and we're just at the intro, bro. All right, slow down. We got plenty of time. All right, let's welcome also Gladys you're from, I was going to say from the trenches because I was just still back in that mode from back last year, but from Going for Two, welcome in.
Hey, what's up? I do podcasts for Going for Two on tonight, and Thursday night we do a No Particular Order podcast where we mock draft just different things. I do a little writing for Going for Two and Rasball. It's a pleasure to be here with both of you that I know and Herms, who I will be on another podcast with Sunday, I believe. So I'm excited to talk about, the to-be Super Bowl champs, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, I love it. And actually, Hollywood Titans already checking in, saying what's up to Herms. We got it all fired up tonight. He's a new friend to the studio. Herms, welcome into the studio, my friend.
What is up? What is up? Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on to talk about the best team. So, we have that going for us. That's also a good time. And, shout out America's birthday tomorrow. It's going to be a good time.
He's frozen. And he's back.
Look,
sorry.
It's 4th of July, and Mother Nature is celebrating early down there in Miami.
I know.
They have all the parties, and you can't help. You can't fight Mother Nature.
I got lightning out here. I got fireworks. I mean, you can't ask for anything better here in Florida. I got to tell you. All right, well, let's get it started. Let's talk about last season real quick. Steelers 9-8, third in the AFC North. Offensively, points per game, you were 26, 18.1. Yards per game, 23rd, 322.6. Passing yards, 200.6. That was 24th. Rush yards, 121.9. That was 16th in the league. Defensively, 20.4 points per game. That puts you 10th in the league. Not too shabby. Yards against, 330.4. That's 11th. Passing yards per game, 222.
Oh, and he's frozen again.
But
it's okay.
That's a convenient spot.
It is a convenient spot to freeze because
Where was I at? The defense?
Yeah, you're at the
you're right.
passing.
You were at the passing yards.
You're at passing yards.
You can skip over that one. If you
Well, it wasn't bad. You were 19th, 222.3, so not horrible. And rush yards 9th, 108.1, so not too shabby there. So let's go around the room. 3 words or less, Chris. Sum up last season and then expand on it for me.
Ready to go. That is our takeaway from last season. Look, we were one tie away from the same record as last year, the year before. 9-7-1 and 21, 9-8. Drop down from second to third. We win. What do we win? I think it was 7 of the last 9 or 8 of the last 10, something like that. We come out hot at the end of the schedule. We start getting things together. I mean, yeah, you got a rookie quarterback in there. Of course, there's going to be regression. You just went from, a Hall of Famer to a rookie. We made a lot of changes, but the changes worked. They were definitely firing off by the end of the season. Coming into this season, the second year gelling of everything finally coming together and working, matched with the schedule that we have. I'm telling you, it's double-digit wins or bust for this team, and it's hard to argue.
I would actually beg to differ. Gladys, I'll go to you next. Give me 3 words or less about last season. Expand on it for me.
Tell 2 halves. First half, Pittsburgh went 2-6. Second half, they win 6 out of 7. Pickett had 8 interceptions before the bye in week 9. After that, he had 1 interception. He had 2 throwing touchdowns before the bye in week 9. After that, he had 5. TJ Watt out for 7 games. With TJ Watt in the lineup, the Steelers are 8-2. Without TJ Watt in the lineup, they are 1-6. With TJ Watt in the lineup, they allow 16.9 points per game. Without TJ Watt, they allow 25.3 points per game. With TJ Watt's 288.8 yards per game. Without TJ Watt's 389.9 yards per game. A tale of 2 halves, a tale of 2 people. Kenny Pickett ascending, TJ Watt getting better. Both of them ascending, Kenny Pickett getting better, TJ Watt healthy. I mean, it's the numbers speak for themselves.
A tale of health is what Gladys says. I would have to.
He's agreeing. That's what he has to say. That he would have to,
of course,
because why can't? I mean, he can't not agree.
No, I could tell that's where he was going for sure.
I know. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, I'm gonna lose it for
I'm
sure.
the judge in this one. I think that's exactly where he was going with that one.
There we go. See,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Fiscal ruling.
Judge Herrera.
All right, I'm gonna slide in here just in case he has more problems. Let's go to Herms. 3 words or less. Tell me about it.
Yes, for me, it's post bye week. I mean, that's really where everything was the tipping point, especially for offensive coordinator Matt Canada. Like, he knew his job was kind of on the line. If things didn't get figured out, it was going to be over for him. But after the bye week, they came back. I think from like week 10 on. It was really interesting. So I did all of the Steelers players' profiles over there on DraftSharks.com. Haha, plug. That's my day job. And so, like, I looked into all of this, how the offense did pre and post bye, and there were just like massive shifts in their offensive philosophy. So the really interesting thing is from week 1 through 8, pre-bye week, we're talking about an offense that ranked 7th in pass rate, 28th in total yards per game, 28th in play success rate, and then also 31st in drive success rate. So, if you're second worst in the amount of drives you have that end in either a field goal or a touchdown, things aren't going so well. But they shifted back to the run-heavy, smash mouth style of Pittsburgh Steelers football that we all know and love. Post bye week, all the way down to 27th in pass rate, but up to 15th in total yards per game, 5th in play success rate, and 3rd in the entire NFL in drives ending up in some sort of score. It's like, yeah, it wasn't really that fun to watch. It's not super flashy. It's not because Kenny Pickett was out there just launching bombs, but he was good enough at being a game manager that this team can score. So if they keep doing the offense that they were doing to end last year, which is pretty much what a lot of the reporting has said they're going to do, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Post bye week.
It's going to be fine, he says. Just fine indeed. I mean, 9-8 what was pretty fine last year, but let's see if they can expand on it, because we talked about what is. Let's talk about, or excuse me, what was. Let's talk about what is. So marquee additions, Allen Robinson, Isaiah, and I'm going to mess this up, Sumalo at right guard, Landon Roberts at linebacker, subtractions, Cameron Sutton, cornerback, Devin Bush, linebacker, and Terrell Edmonds, safety as well. So lost a little bit there. In the draft, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle from Georgia, Joey Porter, corner from Penn State in round 2. Also in round 2, Keanu Benton from Wisconsin as well.
All right. So after that, we got round 3. Darnell Washington, personal favorite of mine. I think he was a great tight end coming out of Georgia. Then we got edge rusher Nick Hedberg out of Wisconsin, Corey Trice Jr. out of Purdue, the corner. Then you guys finish it up with a guard with Spencer Anderson out of Maryland.
Forgot Patrick Peterson.
Now, do you want to take
Oh,
over?
yeah, you're good. Yep. So now we're just going around the room. If you guys basically let's go opposite. Let's go to Herm first. Give me a prediction for this year. Tell me where you guys are going to be at and why.
I mean, based off of the information we have, I mean, like looking at their schedule and the different moves that they've made, I mean, they could probably win like 10 or 11 games, something like that. I feel like that's pretty well within reach. I mean, like people are going to look at that and say like, oh, it's absurd. But, you know, everything I said earlier about how the offense got better and the fact that they're just going to do that new thing. And I think the additions to the defense are things that people don't appreciate too much. Because even like Gladys said, like Patrick Peterson, okay, we forgot that name, folks. All right.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't what he used to be, but at the same time, you use that. Thank you for the 30-second pick, Chicago. You, you know, you get a veteran like Peterson. You go ahead and add Joey Porter Jr. and that kid Trice that they drafted. Like, he was one of those guys that I know, like a lot of the draftniks were saying, like, you know, like sneaky good developmental guy. Like maybe we'll see where he goes. And like a lot of the OTA reports were saying, like he's good. So I feel pretty cool about that. My only big concern, though, that will be kind of the Achilles heel is like the middle linebackers, because like Landon Roberts is cool. Cole Holcomb was definitely like the big middle linebacker signing that I was excited about because, you know, I'm from the Washington, D.C. area. I see a lot of the Commander stuff, too. Like Holcomb can ball, but they still don't have depth at that part of the defense. And they tried. They tried the best they could, but it's just it's insufficient in my mind. But, you know, they've made a lot more happen with a lot worse in the past. So don't take that as me just, you know, kind of pooping on the parade. Like, I still think they're going to win several games, 10 or 11.
All right, a little poopy from Herm. What do you say, Gladys, about this Steelers season? Let me get a prediction from you and why.
I say 11 games solid. This is the first time since like 2017 that the Steelers have had a third place schedule, and it looks pretty like they play San Francisco first home game, in like 10 years or something, that they play San Francisco, which is the best time to get them because they have no idea who their quarterback is going to be. And we have Alex Highsmith, and we have a healthy TJ Watt, and we have Cam Hayward, who are going to just destroy him. And on the offensive side, Darnell Washington, to me, is like the sleeper pick of the entire draft. I mean, this guy's like an offensive lineman who is going to score in the red zone. I think he's getting, Pat Frymouth had the most touchdowns of a rookie tight end with 7 in like 7 years. I think Washington's going to surpass that. Like, you have to look at Deontay Johnson. You have to watch out for Allen Robinson. You have to watch out for Pat Frymouth. Just put this huge 6'6", 260, 240 or something like that. Just put this offensive lineman who catches balls like a tight end in the red zone. Boom. I'm going 11 games easily. Cleveland, I'm not worried about. We'll probably split with Cincinnati and Baltimore. We play them early, so we'll beat them early because Odell Beckham is Odell Beckham, but he's not the Odell Beckham that we're used to. They've upgraded their wide receivers, but the Steelers are 2-1 against Lamar Jackson and 5-1 against the Ravens, and I'm not worried about the Ravens at all.
I mean, Gladys bringing the big boy noise tonight, and let me say this: it's ironically funny. Justin trashes the Steelers, and Gladys unwittingly trashes Justin's team. Got to love it. All right, let's. Chris.
Hey, Gladys, I'll be there for the first game to watch Brock Purdy throw 5 touchdowns on the
He was biting his tongue, so he's back there biting his tongue. All right, Chris, what say you, my friend? Give me a prediction and why.
I've got 11 and a P, and that's solid. Again, as a fan, I predicted 13-3 on that effing sports show, but realistically, it's 11 or 12. And the points have been brought up. The improvements are there. Yeah, the lack of depth at that linebacker position is a reason to worry, but until the injuries happen, I mean, Pittsburgh is known for their defense. They've always handled business there. And I expect that trend to continue. So I'm really not worried about that. Look, last year we split with Cincinnati. We got shellacked by Philly. We got shellacked by Buffalo. And there was a game against Cleveland that we got shellacked, but that was a Trubisky game. Since then, every single loss that we had last year, those 8 losses, minus those 3, so the other 5 losses were all within 1 score. They were all winnable games, but we had a brand new quarterback. We got a fresh offense. Najee was not 100%. Now he is. This offense is ready to go, and I know that's the obstacle for everybody is the offensive production from last year, the offensive production from this year. There's some inconsistency at wide receiver. You heard what the doc said about Deontay Johnson, but there's nowhere to go but up and no reason to think that you're going to see anything but improvement based off what we saw from last year. The numbers are there to support. I mean, the point differential in 2021, we scored 343 points. That's Roethlisberger thrown over 600 times, 664 as a team. Last year, 308. It's a 35-point differential. Only in 21, they had 12 more touchdowns. So in 12 less touchdowns, we still managed to score only 35 less points. We were number 1 in interceptions. And yeah, we probably won't be number 1 again because we've had some changes in the backfield. No reason to think that we're going to fall out of the top 5, though. Number 15 in sacks. With Watt coming back, expect that number to stay right there, if not improve. That's like the worst case scenario as far as I'm concerned. We got San Francisco in week 1, which was brought up. But look, we got 6 division games, so those can split either way. Those can go either way. We know that Lamar can't throw. He's never produced a top receiving core, no matter who he had with Odell or anybody else in there. So a split, if not a sweep, is not out of the question. Cincinnati, we split with them last year. No reason we can't keep that trend going. And Cleveland, I mean, is Cleveland at least a split, if not a sweep? Then we got 4 games against the NFC West. We got San Francisco in week 1, which is already brought up. We got the Rams. Yes, they got Cup back. Love Cup, one of the most dominating. People are going to underestimate the Rams because they forgot about Cup because he wasn't there. But how good is Stafford going to be? Is Stafford really going to be that good? Are the Rams going to be able to support Cup anywhere else? We got Arizona. Okay. Not going to say anything about that. And then we got Seattle in week 17. That's going to be a game, but it's going to be a game. Our team will know what they are. They'll know what they're doing. They'll have a game plan. They'll be ready to play a Seattle in that week. Then we got 4 games against one of the worst divisions of football, the AFC South. We got Houston in week 4. We got Jacksonville week 8, Tennessee week 9, Indy in week 15. No reason we can't win 3, if not all 4 of those games. Our outliers are Las Vegas in week 3, nice and early when everybody's still in a fog. Green Bay in week 10, not a lot of faith in them this year. And yes, New England in week 14. Tomlin does not have a great record. I think he's 2-7 against Bill Belichick. New England's got a fantastic defense, but they got to come to Pittsburgh. And nobody wants to play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. The fact of the matter is, again, nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to admit to it. But when you look at the numbers, you look at the facts as they sit in front of you. As my 2 teammates, Steelers, our whole fan base agrees, it's 11 wins, probably even 12. I'm solid there.
Chris got the big boy noise tonight, even going as far as saying Lamar can't throw. Wow.
Prove me wrong.
Wow.
Prove me wrong.
That was a big one. All right. Well, your compadre, we had one of you unfortunately could not, I guess was running late, but it's late. And oh man, these freaking fireworks are killing me. Unfortunately, he is running late. So Justin is going to have to join Herms tonight. And it's going to be Gladys and Chris on the other side. We're going to play a little fantasy quiz show tonight, Steelers edition. Basically, this works just like Fantasy Feud. I'll team you guys up against one each other to shout the answer out. Whoever has the highest will get control for their team. You guys get 3 strikes. If you get 3 strikes, the other team gets a chance to steal. All right, well, I hope you're ready. I know I am, and I'm sorry, Herm, for the weak link. It's time for the Fantasy Show.
There seems to be no sign of intelligence.
It's the Fantasy Quiz Show.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's gonna be a long game.
Not gonna be a lot. Herm's like, I'm out. He said, Justin, you better pray on it. Not gonna be a long game tonight because we got Steeler experts in the building. All right, well, I guess it's Herm tipped out. Oh, here he is. He said, Justin, you better pray on that, my brother. All right, let's start out. Let's go Herms and Gladys. Got to get our guests to going one-on-one. Let's start it out tonight. All top 5 answers on the board. We're going to go all-time history. I'm going to make this like a little late.
I like it.
I like it. Suspense.
The suspense is killing me.
I mean, this is really the height of entertainment,
Right, and right after this commercial break. No, all right. My bad. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's just a lightning fiasco down here right now. All right, so I'm looking for all-time history, top 5 answers, your past TD leaders.
Past TD leaders.
Go right ahead, Herm.
He's got his own money.
He does.
Terry Bradshaw.
He came with a buzzer. Great job there, Terry Bradshaw, number 2 on the list, 212. Gladys, you get a chance to get number 1.
I suck at trivia. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chris. I'm gonna have to go Big Ben. He played longer. Big Ben.
Big Ben is on the list. You stole it. He is number 1, 418 all time. Well, you got it for your team. Chris, you are up, my friend. What you got?
This is all-time touchdown leaders.
No, is it touchdown or passes?
Pass TD. Yep, pass TD.
Okay, so it's past TDs.
Yeah.
You guys took the top, like the main.
I know.
Okay. Crap. Pass touchdown leaders. Who else even can compete there? O'Donnell.
Ooh.
Neil O'Donnell. Is that what the
Yes,
guess?
yes.
Okay, so Neil O'Donnell. All right, Neil.
Sorry, Gladys.
Neil,
I got through.
Neil O'Donnell's number 4 on the list. 68.
Really?
Yep. So you're missing 3 and 5. No strikes.
How many did Neil O'Donnell have? Number 4?
68, I think he said. Say 68.
Oh.
65, 60 something.
How many did Neil O'Donnell have at number 4?
It's 68.
68.
Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart.
See, I didn't think.
He is there on this list. He is number 3, actually, with 7. All right, one left. Chris, can you get it?
No idea. No idea.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? It's not like we have like a lot of quarterbacks to choose from here.
The bar is very low.
If Neil O'Donnell had 66, who's number 5 at 22? God. Bubby Brister.
Bubby Brister.
Oh no.
Gladys.
And what am I looking for? What position? Where am I? 3?
Number 5.
We're at 5.
Oh, the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like Bubby Brister as an answer then.
Well, thank you.
Bobby Lane.
Bobby Lane, she says.
There's no way.
Number 5, Bobby Lane with 66. Wow, great job. If you don't
we only have like 6 quarterbacks.
Now you know.
If you don't know, now you know. But check it out, Justin. You got saved by the bell. Luckily, our other guest is in. If he's in a car, it doesn't matter. Welcome in, my brother.
What's going on, guys? Yes, I am just getting out of work now. We got our asses handed to us, and yeah, that was a good little trivia question there.
All right, all good, because you're teamed up with Herms right now. They went up first, and now it's you versus the guy above you, Chris, for this second question. Here we go. Top 5 answers are on the board. I mixed things up a little tonight, so I hope you guys watched the show prior, because I mixed things up just a little bit. I want to know all-time history. I'm looking for your coaches with the best winning percentage.
There are 5?
Coward.
Bill Cowher.
Am I up?
Bill Cowher is on the list. He's number 2, however. He's 623 winning percentage. You can steal if you name the number 1 answer.
Am I up then? Is
Yes,
that how
sir.
this goes? Sorry, I missed the rules. I missed the ground.
Okay. It's like Family Feud, basically.
I'm gonna go with Chuck Noll.
Chuck Noll.
No.
Chuck Noll is on this list, but he is number 4 all time.
Number 4. Okay.
Uh-oh. He's frozen. There's like...
So that means Chris and Gladys, you got control. We're going to go back to you. I think, Gladys, you are up. What do you got?
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, numero uno on the list with a 636 winning percentage. So you have number 1, you got number 2, and you got number 4. Chris, do you got any more?
That's the thing. Like,
yeah, who else?
It's almost.
I only know 3 coaches, so
I know it's almost like just worth throwing it to the other team just to see if they can come up with one. But they're probably over there like Googling it right now. Bastards. How about what's the guy? Oh shit.
Not that guy. A little too much time on the clock. Gladys, what say you?
I literally only know 3 coaches. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, we got 2 strikes. Jeez.
All right. Chris, what say you?
All
right, Joe.
Stop it. Get some help.
I answered.
All right, guys. You guys have a chance to steal. You can talk amongst yourselves here. We're looking for all-time winning percentage on your in coach history. Excuse me, in Steeler coach history. You got number 3 and number 5 available.
I was born in 1995. I've only seen 2 coaches. Okay, I don't know. I
only know 3.
Yeah, I was born in the no era, so this is really throwing me off.
I don't know. My parents might. I don't like that.
There's no lifelines, bro.
I don't even know if lifelines would help us. We were so bad. We were so bad from 33 to 71. Like, we went through so many coaches.
Yeah.
So no, like,
so they were all fine people, but you know,
you can try to pull out one. Try to pull out one. Try to pull out one.
God,
I like that one.
All right, so you ready for the names?
Yes, please.
Number 3, Jock Sutherland.
Yes, that guy.
He was 13-9-1 with a 591.
13-9-1.
Number 5, Buddy Parker, 57-46-6, 520 all time. How do you not know about the old times of Buddy Parker? I mean,
oh my God, or Jock.
I don't know.
That's a good question there.
I'm as old as you, Jason.
The dominant run offense. All right, let's get on. This is question number 3. I dare to say this is when they get harder. We got Gladys versus Herms on this one. I'm going back to all-time history, but I want to know winning percentage. I want to know the teams you have the best winning percentage against.
Oh, God.
In all-time history?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Herms.
The Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns.
Damn it.
That was a good guess.
Gladys, what say you?
All-time history. The Ravens, Baltimore Ravens.
Ah! Never more, my dear. All right, Herms, what say you?
Okay, I think I'm gonna go outside the division this time because that makes way more sense. You know what? The Seahawks have never been very good against the Steelers, so sure.
The Seahawks.
I'm spitballing. I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is always the one that trips everybody up, bro. It's all good. Gladys, what say you?
Miami Dolphins.
The America's team, the Miami Dolphins.
I just wanted it to be there.
I know, me too.
All right, so we're gonna get into overtime rules now. So basically, we're gonna go to Herms again, and then we're gonna go to Gladys, and basically we'll get to the point where if somebody gets it, it's pretty much just it. We won't go through the round. Whoever gets the highest answer is how we'll go. Herms, what other guess you got?
I'm gonna throw it back to the Houston Oilers.
The Oilers or Titans?
Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cowboys.
All right, Gladys, what say you?
It's either
Cowboys, Gladys. Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. Oh, he's frozen.
You idiot. You idiot.
Even this thing that are frozen.
All right, so now we'll take it off the host there for a second. Let's go to your teammates, see if we got it. Sports Talking It. What's up, bro? What is it?
I'm going with the Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals?
No.
Chris, let's do Raiders.
So I'm like I didn't count, but I don't know. We're getting close to about 20 something odd teams left. I mean, we gotta get one.
Someone's gonna hit one. I'm telling
Chris,
you.
go ahead. What do you got?
I'm with my teammate. Let's go Raiders.
The Raiders.
Stop it. Get some help.
Son of a.
Somebody get some help. Herms, back to you.
Oh God, I don't know. You know what? The Houston Texans, because they've barely been around.
The Texans.
Go with the percentage numbers there. Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
I give up. I don't know.
Oh, boy, this is crazy. I don't think we've had it gone this long before. Gladys.
The Jets.
Gladys, on you.
Jets, New York Jets.
The Jets.
Finally.
Way to go, Chris!
Wow. By a nose. I can't even believe it. The
By a
Jets,
nose.
they are actually number 5 on this list. You're 18-7 all time against the Jets. Jets. All right, here are the other teams in order. Panthers are number 1, 7-1 all time against the Panthers. Falcons are number 2, 15-2-1 against the Falcons.
Is it the Rams?
The Buccaneers 10-2. They're number 3, and number 4, the Colts 21-6. Now since it's a clean sweep tonight, I'm gonna at least read through the last one. The last crew is the all-time losing the franchise they have the losing percentage against. Worst percentage against. My bad. I can't even spit it out. The Bears are number 1. You're the worst winning percentage against the Bears. 8-19-1 all time. Number 2, the Eagles, believe it or not, 29-48-3. The Rams are number 3, 9-15-2. The Broncos are number 4. You're 10-15-1 against the Broncos. And then the Giants coming at number 5, 31-43-3. If you don't know, now you know. Congratulations, though, to Gladys and Chris. You are tonight's winners.
What do we win?
Holy hallelujah, we've done
Love it.
You get the winning video. That's what you get.
I like that video.
And unfortunately, guys, on our show, it's tradition. When we have a winner, we do have a loser.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Black cotton entertainment. Stupid.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Not a chance anymore tonight. All right, well, let's go around the room. Let everyone plug themselves. We're going to go to, after the commercial break, we'll be getting into our fantasy focus. More than welcome to stay, but I want to give you that time to dip out if you need to. Chris, let's start with you. Where can we follow, subscribe, get all your great content?
Much appreciated. Over at That Effin' Sports Show, EFIN. We're on YouTube. You can find us at That Effin' Show, EFIN. On Twitter, you can use that handle. On YouTube, just keyword EFIN on anywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find us. And of course, you'll find us over on the Fantasy Sports Network, where we've recently been invited and graciously accepted the invitation to. Proud to be a part of the Fantasy Sports Corporation. That Effin' Sports Show, look for us all season. We'll be putting out great fantasy content that you can use all year long. EFIN. Thanks, guys.
Gotta
Go
love
Steelers.
it. Gotta love it. Gladys, what say you? Where can we follow, subscribe, get all your great content?
You can follow me on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. Subscribe to the Going for Two Network. I write offensive during the season. And follow me on Razzball. I write defensive during the season. And then podcast on Monday nights, 2-point conversion, where during the season we talk betting scores and such. And then on Thursday, it's called the No Particular Order podcast. Has nothing to do with sports whatsoever. We just mock draft stupid shit a lot.
All right. Gotta love stupid shit for sure. All right. All right. And up next, it's Driving Miss Stacy. Sound a good time with you. Where can we get all your great content, my friend?
We up?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Sports Talking It.
Driving this, that's it. Gotta love it. That's where you can follow, subscribe, get his great content. Herms, what about you? Where can we follow, subscribe, and get your great stuff, friend?
You can follow me on Twitter at HermsNFL. I'm also one of the writers and analysts over at DraftSharks.com. So if you go to that web address, it will pull you up to that website, which, as I said, is where I get money from. So,
all right.
I love that website.
Even more important, the latter. So make sure we pull that up for sure. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Like I said, I hope you guys had a good time with the game. We'll do the quick commercial break. Please stick around. But if you got a dip, that's cool. And appreciate you guys coming. If not, we'll see you back for the Fantasy Focus.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code TSS to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
All right, good girl, Gingerbread. Let's get on with the Fantasy Focus for the Steelers. We start right off with the internet issue. And we start with the QB. Let's start with QB Kenny Pickett. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with my analysis. Quite frankly, he's not someone I'm targeting as of now. I got him ranked 25th. Just looking outside of the Steelers' glasses right now, I'm just not seeing enough for me to look at Kenny Pickett and any type of redraft. Obviously, if we're talking dynasty, it's certainly okay to take a stab at Kenny Pickett, but he's probably on somebody's roster already, unless they dropped him. And like I said, long story short, he's just not somebody I'm targeting right now. Like I said, I'll let the experts talk about it. Justin, what say you?
Oh, well, I'm no expert, but I'll tell you this: Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, is not a fantasy quarterback I want to go grab. I got him at 31 right now. And I think that's gracious considering I still have one more spot I could lower him to be a starting quarterback. So here's my problem with Kenny Pickett. He doesn't run enough to be a threat. And his numbers dictate that he's going to be Aaron Rodgers without the touchdowns. So what's Aaron Rodgers without the touchdowns mean? 212 yards flat and maybe like one touchdown and an interception. That's kind of what Kenny Pickett is kind of giving off vibe-wise for this past season. And if this offense, stays relatively the same under Matt Canada, then, we might be you guys might have to send his butt back to Canada and get yourself an American OC. I know he's probably American. I'm just fucking around with it. But long story short, Kenny Pickett is just one of those guys that, even if he dunked it down to Najee Harris 50 times, he's not getting those points for those receptions. So it's like, why am I going to waste my time with a guy who's not really got everything that he needs? He's got everything he needs, but he just can't use it well enough. Now you're on mute.
See, he's creating his own technical difficulties now. The rest of them aren't good, hard enough for you. You got to create your own.
I can't win tonight, I can tell you. PSR, thank you for checking in. Good evening. And Hollywood Titan, appreciate you as well. Herm, let's go to you. Let's talk about the QB position. What do you say?
I think Pickett is an interesting option if you're playing in one of those leagues, like, shout out to Scott Fishbowl. What up? Hey, the super flex got your 2 quarterback thing, but I mean, he's nothing more than that. I mean, if you're playing in a single QB league, you don't really have to worry about it. But I do want to push back against the idea that like Pickett's just like god awful, and, like never going to be good. And that he's, because I get that he was not particularly great last year. It's perfectly fine. But the thing that bothers me the most is like, people are just like way too impatient about quarterback development. Like, we'll see a guy start 6 games and it's like, no, but it's over. He's terrible. Blah, suck. Like, okay, like chill. We need to see more things. And then also, it's one cherry picked stat. I will freely admit that, but it's my favorite thing to say. From week 12 of last year through the end of the regular season, he was PFF's #1 graded passing quarterback. So, no, I mean, he'll be okay. Like, he runs sometimes, okay, and he'll be like decent in like really good matchups. But unless you're playing super flex, you don't have to care about this.
Yes, I totally agree with it. And shout out to Scott Fishbowl, absolutely. At Sports Talking It, what do you say, my friend?
I think Kenny Pickett's going to be a good buy, like a buy fill-in quarterback this year. If he can figure out how to utilize Johnson a little more, maybe get him in the end zone, unlike last year, I think he'd be all right. That's just my thoughts. I think he'd be a good buy fill-in, though.
Yeah, depends on. I think Chris talked about your schedule earlier, and there could be a certain time you guys are playing the AFC South, as he mentioned earlier. Titans, we know last year were absolutely horrendous in the secondary. Could be a nice matchup this year for you as well. Chris, what say you though? Give me Kenny Pickett. Where do you got him ranked?
Well, 31's a bit low. I'll probably go in the mid-20s, low 20 range. I think there's plenty of guys that are worse than him. There's a lot of teams that have a lot more questions at quarterback. And I'm not just picking on Justin here, but, the numbers and the expectations really do kind of compare to what I would, see out of Brock Purdy. Good enough to get in there, get it done, but he's right. You're not going to get 300 yards and 5 touchdowns out of the guy. He's not going to be someone you need to throw in there and play in a redraft league, a flex option. Even that's a maybe. He's going to be good for the team. He's going to do what he needs to do for the team. He's going to get some wins. He's got Najee Canada as a run first guy. So you'll see a lot of options and stuff. You'll see improvement, but when you're talking from a fantasy perspective, even as a Steelers fan, he's not someone I particularly need to roster.
All right, well, let's go to the running back position. Listen, it's Najee, Mr. Harris, if you're nasty. I mean, not for nothing. This guy is definitely a top-tier running back. You just mentioned earlier they're going to be run heavy. So he's somebody that you do want to target. I do like him a lot, like him to step up this year. I got to keep coming back to make sure I'm not frozen. So I like Najee. I got him right now. I got him ranked 10th overall. I got him at top 10 running back this year, the way this offense is set up. So I do like it. Justin, let's go to you, sir.
I got him at 12. His yards created stats are not the most impressive. And you're kind of banking on him to get at least 50 catches a year to kind of be the productive guy that finished 4 a year ago. So for me, I'm looking at it like, the doc said it, he hasn't missed a game. That's a really tough stat, and that's an awesome stat for a running back. But, that isn't always the prophecy that's foreseen in every season. And, I'm not going to be totally banking on he has to have an absolutely perfect season in order for him to be in that top 5, so I'm not going to bank on him being that top 5 guy. I'm not going to bank on him getting 50 to 70 catches, all that type of stuff. If I can get him as a 3rd selection, I'll be happy with it, but I'm not going to reach for Najee Harris, especially not in this offense. I mean, I know they like to run it all, but they still have not kind of, in my opinion, built that line to where I'm solid on their run game being this force.
At Sports Talking It, do you think they're going to be a force this year at running back?
I think they're going to throw it more this year. I really do. But I would have Najee over there in that 12th, 13th rank overall. It's scary. He only had 1,000 yards last year on, I think he had what was it? I hate not being at my desk, Commish.
You're good, bro.
272.
Yeah.
And he had 1,034, 7 touchdowns, and he also had 3 in the air. So I have him at 12. I mean, 3rd, 4th round pick, maybe. I know people are going to grab him early, but because that's just the way they are with running backs, because, usually in a 12-man league, 2 apiece. That's 24 right there, you know. But I would say he's in that 12 bit 13 range right there.
I like it. I like it a lot. Chris, what say you?
Yeah, I kind of like that top 10, so right in there, plus or minus area. Like I said, Canada likes to run the ball. I mean, look, Najee was RB12 in yards. He was RB7 in touchdowns, and that's with P. Ryan and Hillard sitting there at 5 and 6. 15 in receptions, and I agree. You know, the receptions I think are going to go up, even if they're just dunk downs. Fantasy points, he comes out at RB12 last year, and that's with a brand new quarterback. That's with weaknesses on the O-line. They made adjustments to that left side to help open up holes and protect Pickett back there. You know, everybody talks about that 2021 season. Najee had 74 receptions last year. You know, of course, he only got 41. But look, in that 2021 season and last year, he had 3 receiving touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns both years. The fantasy points were just better for PPR, and you know that's where the big notable was. But now that we've seen improvement, this is a new team that can do new things. You know, right around that top 10 range, I think that's a great spot. And sports talking, it's absolutely right. People are going to grab early, but everybody always does that takes running backs early because they consider running backs a premium, which is true. But I think he'll be worth. You know, he's not really off for the how early people are going to take him, but that's a matter of necessity. But I think people will be happy that they have him paired up with another good running back. He's not going to carry your team, but he's definitely going to be able to get you some wins throughout the season.
Jalen Warren being his handcuff for sure. Let's go to Herms. What
Master Teague in there now too as well.
I was just ready to ask that, you know. But I was just ready to ask what you guys thought of Jalen Warren, but we'll get Herm's answer first.
You know, I'll start with that actually, because that's a pretty interesting thing that a lot of people have pointed out. I mean, I like to read a lot of the things that Mark Cavalli does for the team over The Athletic. He's probably my favorite Steelers beat writer to follow. And, you know, he's mentioned pretty consistently the entire time, even going into, you know, OTAs and mini camps, like Jalen Warren just like looks a lot bigger. He's definitely put on a lot of weight, and they are very
the muscle, I heard.
Yeah. So like he seems interesting in terms of just like, you know, training his body to carry a much larger workload. That's certainly interesting. And the other part is there was like a very interesting report that Mark Cavalli put out several weeks ago where they talked to Matt Canada about the offense. And he kind of sort of said in so many words that the front office and Mike Tomlin put the game plan together and just told him, hey, this is what we're going to do. They're not really taking his influence into this. And a key part of that was everything that I was saying earlier about sticking to the identity that made things really good for them after the bye week. Now, just to throw Jalen Warren out of it just for a second so we can focus on Najee Harris, that's a really interesting part there, because after that time, from week 10 on, among all running backs who had at least 100 carries, Harris ranked 8th in Pro Football Focus rushing grade, shout out, 7th in PFF receiving grade among all running backs as well, 3rd in rushing yards, 7th in PFF elusive rating, which, you know, takes into account, you know, the forced tackles and the misses and stuff, so that's good, and then 5th in yards after contact. So like this dude, when they really dialed back the pass rate and made everything about just jamming things through the run, his efficiency went up. And that was also, mind you, last mic drop, the Liz Frank injury. Okay, like he got hurt, played with that all the way from the beginning of camp through the early part of the season, and people just like forget that because it's like, well, Jalen Warren looked a lot more explosive than Najee earlier on in the season. I'm like, yeah, because one of them had 2 feet. The other one did not have a second. Like, what do you want? Like, I'm sorry. There's just this willingness to just abandon Najee Harris in the fantasy space because it's like, well, he came into the league old and he was kind of bad and blah, blah. You know, it's just, I can't do it. Okay. He's been super good each year. He's fine. He's found the end zone double-digit times each year. What do you want? Okay. What do you want?
Gotta love it. We gotta love it.
What about when everyone was? I'm sorry, Commissioner, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
Everyone was saying like by week 4 that they think Warren might be the full starter.
Good for them.
We're just like, let's go on around here. But they love controversy on the radio around here. Everyone knows.
Well, listen, we got a question on this show when we hear kind of weird things like that. You can ask them for us. All right, let's get to that receiver position, and we got a little bit of some value here. We got two good receivers off the jump with George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Due to my internet issues, I'm not going to sit here and talk too long. I'll just say we got two decent receivers that I'm looking at, either wide receiver 2 or a little bit below hand. Justin, I'll go to you first. What do you say?
Right now.
You're on me,
yeah, so as of right now, I'm looking at George Pickens as 30. I really like the prospect of Pickens. I think he's got a little bit more talent and gas than Deontay Johnson does. I mean, it's really telling when you get 140 targets and you can't even register one touchdown. I mean, that's kind of like more indicative of, the offense. But if it's the same offense, are we looking at it the same way? I mean, obviously, he's not going to get 0 touchdowns again. There's no freaking way, right? A number 1 receiver getting back-to-back years of 0 touchdowns? No freaking way. But with my comments about Kenny Pickett before, now, I don't want to come across a total hater, but I just don't see how this offense, steps it up to the level where they can support a Najee Harris, a Pat Freiermuth, a possible Darnell Washington sneaking into this offense as well, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and then possibly a third slot receiver, and maybe even Jaylen Warren too. I don't think Kenny Pickett's got the ability to support all of that. So that being said, something's got to drop off. I think Deontay Johnson not getting the touchdowns and maybe more of the red zone looks going to Freiermuth and Pickens is going to go against his fantasy value this year. That's why I'm going to be looking more at Pickens, who's got kind of a value drop right now, as he's kind of falling into that wide receiver 3 range, whereas Deontay Johnson still hangs around that low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 range. I think I'll take the drop on Pickens and get Freiermuth a little later on and bank on them getting the more valuable touchdown production than Deontay Johnson getting, the targets and the receptions. Because I think that at the end of the day, while he might get 100 targets again, if he really is in that lower touchdown range, and we're talking about Pickens getting, maybe 100 targets, 90 targets, then there's going to be some way to make it up, and I think it's going to be in the touchdowns.
Chris, what say you, friend?
I agree with, Justin's end conclusion, just not how he got there, of course. And I am a Steelers fan, so that is factored in there. But as a fantasy football fan, I mean, I would be worried about, going too high on anybody. I mean, yes, we talked about 10, 11, 12 wins and stuff like that. But, I mean, these are going to be done as a team. There's not going to be – Najee Harris is going to be the fantasy standout for this team, and everybody else is going to have to do their job. I hope that Johnson doesn't have to see 150 targets like he did last year. Pickens is going to take some of those. Najee's going to take some of those. Freiermuth is going to take some of those. And I think Freiermuth is probably your second best fantasy option to get points. And of course, he's nowhere up in that top 3 level. So, Freiermuth top 7 overall in fantasy points last year, top 5 for receptions over 20 yards, top 6 in yards and receptions and targets for tight ends overall. So Freiermuth is worth looking at. But if you're talking about guys catching the ball in Pittsburgh and being a fantasy contributor, unless this league is deep or you're running a lot of receivers, and this is as a Steelers fan, from the fantasy perspective, I don't think Pittsburgh's somewhere you need to put a lot of time and effort into, especially that receiving core.
Herm, we'll go to you next. I guess I was frozen there for a second. My bad. What do you say, my friend?
No, I mean, I really think that this is still the Deontay Johnson show. I think people are very tired of him for some reason, I guess, but there's really nothing stopping him from doing what he's been doing the last several years. Like since his rookie season, he's had 3 consecutive years of at least 140 targets in this offense. It's all on him. And even last year, we talk about how like big of a difference the touchdowns were and the fact that he didn't score any of them, but still finishing wide receiver 28 overall in PPR is not bad considering he didn't find the end zone. And then another fun thing that I found out, when we look at all players in the Super Bowl era that finished the season without scoring a single touchdown, Deontay Johnson ranked, here we go, first in PPR points, just total PPR points, first in targets, third in receiving yards, and 6th in PPR points per game. Basically the most historic 0 touchdown fantasy season for a wide receiver that's like ever happened. So like I like George Pickens as a real-life football player. I think he'll be interesting, but he needs to do a considerably better job of expanding his responsibilities. I mean, he's really good at just chucking it down, and he makes some really cool highlight plays. But in terms of just, I mean, his PFF receiving grade was not particularly high. His drop percentage was something that was a little dangerous, which is kind of dangerous to throw out too much, especially for, like, super high-volume receivers. But, like, Pickens did not receive enough work to the point where I feel like we can just throw that out. And, you know, I like Pat Freiermuth. We'll talk about the tight ends. He'll be a factor for that as well. But, like, Deontay Johnson's the guy. He's always been the guy. we need to stop pretending that he's not going to be he's really good. They gave him a lot of money for a reason. Before this last season started, that extension was not cheap, okay? Like, they can't just go away from it all of a sudden. Like, he's the dude. I would draft him way before I draft Pickens.
You heard it here. Don't forget it, because a lot of rankings got Pickens higher.
Does it worry you that, you know, Pickens had 81 less yards on literally
30
60 less targets
and 30 less catches?
Well, the other thing about that is that, like, Deontay's going to do a lot more short area stuff where, like I said, you're chucking it more to George Pickens anyway. So just by virtue of their responsibilities, Pickens is going to see these much larger chunk yardage plays than some. Well, now the reason it's concerning, though.
What I'm saying is their production is pretty much even for what you're getting with Deontay Johnson, and you got to pay up for Deontay Johnson over Pickens. Where it's
the thing is, you're getting it more in terms of the consistency and the high floor of the scoring, because, like, you're right, whenever Pickens went off, it was super great, but those lows, because he's not seeing nearly as many looks going his way, just because we're talking PBR, we love the volume, we love the guys that can rack that up. So at least in terms of the safety of the floor, I would rather take Deontay Johnson. But like a best ball tournament or something, I see no reason to not take a late shot on Pickens. Like, I get it, but just general redraft, it's where it gets a little bit tricky for me.
Yeah, when you talk about those yardage, that yardage differential is only 80 different yards. Look, Pickens had, Johnson had 10 plays over 20 yards. Pickens had 25. I mean, those are chunk yardage plays, like Herm said. I mean, you throw the ball downfield, Pickens is going to catch it, and so he's going to get that yardage. But volume, and especially in a PPR league, you know, Johnson's going to win that battle every time.
All right, that's
so
sports
what I'm mostly
talking
getting at here is that. Oh, I'm sorry.
While we're having this full conversation about the wide receivers, with that Calvin Austin coming back and the addition of Allen Robinson, will they be more? Will this open up Johnson more and Pickens, because there's all of a sudden more to cover out there, and Freiermuth? I feel that these two wide receivers might go off this year.
Bada bing. That's the way. Hey, I like the way to button that up there, because we haven't heard that perspective. I like it. All right, let's move on to the tight end and defensive position. We'll just kind of group it together so we don't have to be here all night. Let's go to the tight end first. We'll start with that since everyone was talking about it already. Tight end, I mean, Pat Freiermuth, listen, I mean, in a position that's a desolate wasteland in fantasy, Pat Freiermuth is interesting. I got him 11th. So in a redraft, he's definitely rosterable and somebody to go after. I like you guys mentioned all the great things about Pat Freiermuth. And like I said, it's sports talking it, just button it up there at the end as well. So I like his prospects this season, and he's definitely, like I said, rosterable. And again, one of those guys that you don't have to spend big time draft capital on. You can wait a little longer for him and build up that team around him, and then he can be that that little fill-in to put the cherry on top for that fantasy championship. And defensively, again, how can you not like the Steelers? They were great last year. They were 12th overall, 19th ranked in fantasy last year. I got them. There was a lack of turnovers is what I was reading, and a tough division as well, but that seems to be stepping up this year when, as Gladys said earlier, when TJ Watt came in, it was a whole different football team. And like I said, the tale of two halves she mentioned earlier. So give a whole healthy Steelers roster this year. You could see a great defense. Chris alluded to it earlier. You're playing the AFC South. So some good, like you brought up the Colts in Week 15, might be a great matchup to throw them in. So definitely a defense to look out for as well. All right, let's move on. Justin, what's say?
Yeah, so I love Pat Freiermuth. He was one of my favorite guys to draft as a rookie. I've had him on a ton of dynasty rosters. He's the epitome to me of a Jason Witten. He is just one of those guys. He takes his lunch pail to work and he gets the job done. Now, will he get the touchdowns? That's always the deciding factor. I've been preaching it all show long, and I won't stop doing it until this offense shows me that it can feed multiple mouths, 8 touchdowns a season. I probably won't go too high on him. Now, I'll try and get Freiermuth right around where I would get Chig. But, if it comes down to Chig or Freiermuth, I'm going to go with the guy who's maybe number 1 in his offense over the guy who's maybe number 3. So that's just how that works for me. Obviously, everybody has something different on that one. And then the Steelers defense. Love the Steelers defense. I love what they did. They got rid of Cameron Sutton. They got out the guy that was, asking for a contract. They brought in Joey Porter Jr., a legacy to the team. I think he's going to do some good stuff at that corner position, like the Nick Hedwig selection as well. I think he dropped in the draft a little bit. And overall, like Gladys said, this defense is just so much better when TJ Watt is on the field. Cameron Hayward can just focus on being an interior rusher. And, you can have the guy on the outside just wreaking havoc on opposing teams' quarterbacks. I like this defense. I always draft this defense. A Mike Tomlin defense is always well run. It's like a Bill Belichick defense, but it's always got a little bit more to it. You know what I mean? There's always a little bit more turnovers, forced fumbles. All these guys seem to go and get these sacks and these interceptions. There's just, I don't know. I can't really tell you what it is, but I'll just tell you this. Draft the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
That's the best analysis I've heard all night. What say you, my friend?
Well, just starting first with the Steelers defense. I mean, they're really good. So, there's no reason to really doubt that.
Another good one.
Yeah, for sure. No, more seriously though, the thing that I have been concerned about for them the thing I've always been concerned about in my entire lifetime is the secondary. But I think I'm just always going to feel that way, because I've wanted them to draft like a first-round cornerback since I was a kid, and I guess Joey Porter kind of counts because it was the 32nd pick. I know it was whatever, if it weren't for whatever. So I guess that counts. Fine, success. But so the corners are going to be interesting. I know Minka Fitzpatrick's going to be great doing his thing, but who kind of rotates in as that second safety? Because I know that Demonte Casey's still there. They also Keanu Neal. I'm not sure which one of them's going to, and it might depend on the certain packages and stuff and whatever responsibilities. But I still really want to know that. And the thing I was saying earlier about the lack at middle linebacker depth, the interior linebackers, that's going to be weird, along with the fact that they've tried to backfill the defensive front with younger guys, which is cool. But I don't know, when all the starters are out there, it's a fierce run defense. It's really hard to run on them. But obviously, as the games go along, you have to cycle in, certain groups of people to give certain people rest and all that stuff. And when they put in some of those reserves for some of those snaps on some of those drives, that's when it's pretty easy for things to fall apart on them. So, as long as that unit continues to just, that front seven really gets to gel and they develop those younger guys, hopefully that issue gets resolved in time. But Pat Freiermuth, very quickly, super fun. And if we're really worried about can they support 2 viable pass catchers, yeah, they did it last year. Well, the 3, I don't think they can support 3 anyway. But I'm just saying, but there are people who worry about 2. Okay, I can see your body language. There are people who worry about 2. We'll worry about 3 when we get there. But seriously, for all I said earlier about Deontay Johnson's historic 0-catch season, he was super good. And Pat Freiermuth pretty much just finished number 6 in all sorts of lists, all sorts of categories. Let me start with the first one. tight end 6 overall in PPR scoring. That was pretty cool. And then among 27 wide receivers who received at least 50 targets last year, Pat Freiermuth finished 6th in PFF receiving grade, and in target share, and in his air yard share, and in his yards per route run. Some of those very, fun, predictive analytics that we can look at to be like, wow, okay. Because the higher that number is, the more generally you can feel good about those dudes, especially when they do it on higher volume. Like, Pat Freiermuth is very easily going to end up securing somewhere between like the 17-ish to 20-ish% target share that you want a dominant fantasy tight end to do. That combined with now how many touchdowns, that'll be whether he's a top 5 guy or just another, top 8, top 10 guy again this year. But like, he's about as safe as it's going to get, man. He is that safety blanket for Kenny Pickett. Even after last year, after they traded Chase Claypool, whatever. I said I would talk about this quickly. I've already said enough. But Pat Freiermuth is very good. So there you go.
You're good. No, that was great. And you're spot on. Everything you're saying, I'm just nodding my head because you're spot on about it. So yeah, I'm with it. Let's go. Sports Talking It. What say you with tight end and D? Where you got him?
I like Pat Freiermuth. He needs to get in the end zone more, of course. He only had 2 touchdowns last year, one from Mitch and one from Kenny. But he's a big target, and maybe we needed to give Kenny another year. I know I wanted to say in the beginning the 3 words, let the rookie start. But that was my 3 words of the day there. And that was for last season. But yeah, just feel that Pat and him are going to be on a good page this year. I don't know if he's going to be top 10, but he might finish at the end like 11. And that's what I feel about that. I feel the loss. I know Miles Jack might have been a headache, but he did lead the team in tackles at 104. So we lost a good tackler. And Minkah Fitzpatrick was second with 96. And I forget who was after Minkah, but he had 81. Does anyone know that number?
Do you guys still have Joe Schobert?
No, he's gone too. But like I said earlier, though, it happened too much. But Cole Holcomb, seriously, Steelers fans, if you haven't read about him enough yet, please do so. Like, dude, he's gonna.
I like Kyle Holcomb. He went for a lot of money in my dynasty draft.
Dude, he racks up tackles left and right. He's gonna be a machine doing that.
But I feel this defense could be pretty good. I do have Minkah on my team, so I'm excited about that. So it's my first year doing an IDP, so I took Minkah because he gets a lot of tackles. And they had
a lot of turnovers.
20 interceptions last year and 40 sacks, I believe. So without TJ in the lineup, they still did pretty good.
Minka's a playmaker too, so not a bad IDP guy at all. Chris,
let's about him from the Miami team, huh?
I got to throw that in there from America's team. Chris, what say you, my friend? Wrap us up, tight end D.
You're not going to get me to Chris Collinsworth this thing. It's been said, man. Like it's there. Everybody's spot on. The running theme with the Pittsburgh defense is, as long as Watt's healthy, they're a good unit. He goes down, and you're going to have to stream a replacement. That's it. The rest has been said. These guys are pretty smart. You did a good job.
Well, super smart indeed. Well, listen, we appreciate you guys being in tonight. It's like I said, happy 4th Eve, if you will. Time to get the party started. And we got a busy day tomorrow because it's sit around, get wasted, get the grill on, swim, boobies, all that. It's what America is all about, like America's team, the Miami Dolphins. Guys, thank you guys so much. Good luck to your Pittsburgh. Good luck to your Pittsburgh.
Sorry, I know you can hear those fireworks. I know they're going off. I was hoping to get a picture of them, but it's not seeable from where I'm sitting.
They're going off everywhere, man. Everyone's getting live, getting pumped up. We appreciate you guys.
I'm outside right now, and I was hoping to get them on the screen.
Nice. So I appreciate you. Don't worry. I'm going to put them on here for us. We're out of here, guys. Thank you again. We'll see you guys on the 5th, where we're bringing we're doing the Baltimore Ravens, by the way, on Wednesday. So
you have Matt.
Make sure you guys tune in. I know all your Steelers fans will love that. Make sure you follow, subscribe, get all of our great guest content. for us, do us a solid, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, hit the like, hit the comment. We appreciate you. Happy 4th, and we are out.
Happy 4th of July from your friends at the Fantasy Sports Corporation.
I need your vote.